I just wanted to take this moment at the beginning to give a little plug to my own Patreon. I am over on the Patreon doing a bonus episode every week and I don't do like dinky little bonus episodes that are like 20 minutes or something like that. They are minimum an hour and most of them are more. So for example, this past week I should say, my Real Housewives of Miami OC and Salt Lake City recap is up and it's an hour and 40 minutes. So I do, like a good meaty, kind of deconstruction of the episode. And, I think it's a great bargain. It's $6 a month and you get one bonus episode a week. So you get 4 episodes a month for $6. And they are long. They're, I usually do about an hour and a half, but always minimum an hour. So check it out. Patreon.com/Bravo and Botox. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily. All right, let's get into some Bravo news this week because we've got some. That is for sure. It's not like the heaviest news week of, that we've seen, but there's stuff. Don't you worry about that. Okay. And what should we start with? Because we've got Valley, we've got Salt Lake City, we've got Miami, we've got OC, we've got New Jersey, we've got quite a few things here. I want to go with Miami because they had their finale this week, so I feel like, they deserve some extra attention. Finale to a very good season, and I saw a little clip of the reunion on social media today. If you go to, I think it was Bravo TV's Instagram, I think they have a clip up of the first like 5 or 6 minutes, and then there's another sneak peek floating around of Gertie and Alexia kind of arguing, and something from last season gets brought up and whatever. But you can find it on socials for sure. I saw it on Instagram and Twitter if you're looking for it. So yeah, let's get into Miami. So we're going to start with this story because Larsa was doing an interview with Virtual Reality, Page 6 Virtual Reality. And basically she was asked about, like the friendship between, Lisa and Gertie and Adriana and what she thinks about all that. And her answer was kind of like, well, it's kind of like the kids who don't know which classroom they're going to next. They're just like, we're both lost. Let's figure it out. I don't think it's genuine. So I guess she's saying that they are friends because they are sort of outcasts. Like, that's kind of how I'm taking it. Like, not that like a kid who's lost from a classroom is outcast, but I think she was kind of saying it in a nicer way. But it does kind of feel like that's what she's implying, is that like they don't have anyone else, so they're only friends with each other because of that. And specifically, it's targeted at Lisa. Like, I do. And here's the thing. Here's the most depressing part of it. I don't think she's wrong when it comes to Lisa. I do think that Lisa is kind of like buddying up with like Gertie and Adriana and getting super close with them right now because she's kind of on the outs with like Larsa, Alexia, and Marisol. It does kind of feel that way because usually, Lisa has like little tiffs and stuff with people, but she's usually not like fully on the outs with people. And I mean, she's not really on the outs with Alexia and Marisol, but they do kind of seem to be like closer with Larsa right now. So yeah, it does kind of feel like they're sort of covertly taking Larsa's side. Like, they're not doing it in an explicit way, but it's just, there's just kind of like a feeling about it. So then Lisa responds to this. She reposted the Instagram story, or to her Instagram story, the interview with Larsa, and she put clown face emojis. And then she wrote, LOL, this clown. Do you want me to give you guys a reality question mark check? Sorry, I don't know if she meant to put the question mark. Do you want me to give you guys a reality check from the last 10 years? Let's go. At Gertie and at Real Adriana. Marisol and Alexia, so she tags them first. Then she says, Marisol and Alexia haven't spoken to Larsa for 10 years while she was with the Kardashians. She came back when she lost that job. And then Lisa says in a comment as well, she's a liar. Can we do an interview this week so I can tell my side of the story? I'll be coming with receipts. Thank you. So Lisa said that to Virtual Reality. Sure. Yeah, I would, I'm not Page 6, but please come and speak your truth, Lisa. Now, all that being said, I don't know. Here's the thing. You can move out of state and not really hang out with someone for a long time and then move back and pick up a friendship without it meaning that the friendship isn't real. Like, I had a friend who moved to British Columbia, and for those of you who don't know the geography of Canada, it's the other side of the country and it takes a very long time to get there, okay? It would be like a 5-hour flight or so. And I know that's not like a crazy amount, but it is when you're in the same country, right? Because it's a big country. But what I will say is that while they were there, we didn't visit each other. And, it was partly due to just not having a ton of funds and the flights are expensive. But it's also it didn't mean that we weren't friends. Did we hang out during that time while they were living there? No. And it was a few years, quite a bit. It was 7 or 8 years. If she came back into town, we would try to meet up and hang out. And then now she's back and has been back for years and we'd hang out way more now. But it's just sometimes when and again, I'm not saying that Lisa's wrong. I'm not saying that Larsa didn't move to LA to try to get in with the Kardashians and then it failed. So she came back to and two things can be true, but it doesn't necessarily prove that her, Alexia, and Marisol don't actually like each other and get along. Because I actually think that they do. I think she came back, they relit the friendship, and friendships can have pauses. And I think the three of them are a little clique, to be honest. And I think they do like each other. So I just don't know what Lisa's trying to prove with this. It's fine if she has texts talking shit about Alexia and Marisol and being well, I never really liked them anyways. Or she has texts with Alexia and Marisol being oh, that girl ditched us and we hate her or something. Then that's something to see. Okay, that's different. But just to say oh, well, they didn't hang out while she lived in LA. Okay, I don't think that's that big of a thing. Okay, so that is Lisa's response. Meanwhile, Marisol is claiming that the RHOM cast does not want to film with Adriana. Listen, does the cast not want to film with her, or do you not want to film with her? Because those are two different things. And by the way, you and Alexia is not the cast. It is two people in the cast. Actually, Marisol, you technically are a friend of, so even you are not the cast, if we're going to be honest about it. And listen, here's my problem with Miami is that I actually like all of them except Julia. And I kind of but I can also get mad and disagree with all of them and kind of hate all of them sometimes too, which is again what makes it kind of like Salt Lake City and fun to watch. But what I will say is that when you go out making a claim like that, it does make it look like you have a problem with the person and you just want them off the show. It seems like even Alexia can function a little bit better with Adriana around. There's something between with Marisol and Alexia that they just don't gel. I mean, and there's a lot of history there, obviously. But anyways, Adriana commented to this post on Instagram. So the post was talking about Marisol saying nobody wants to film with her. And Adriana says she is out campaigning to bring people against me because she is jealous of my talents and intellect. Okay, that is very specific. I don't think that that's why. I think, and I don't know what it is. I don't think she's jealous. I think she just doesn't like you. I think you cannot like someone without being jealous. I think we always go to that. I think in a way she may be intimidated by Adriana's sort of charisma. That I could see. Maybe jealous. Okay, that I could see. She could be jealous of Adriana's charisma because Adriana is naturally funny and her confessionals are great and all that. And Marisol really tries to like have a personality that pops on TV because she doesn't. Like if you think back to when she does kind of now because she's curated it, but if you think back to the early seasons, she was actually pretty boring and then she kind of like created this personality to have on the show with like cockies and like all that kind of stuff, but it's actually not really her. And I think she tries a little too hard to be like wacky or whatever. So I do think that that could be a jealousy thing. In terms of the intellect and talent thing, I don't know about that. But Adriana says she wants to dim my light so she can feel relevant. Okay. Gertie responds and says, "You know what's sad? After all these years on hiatus, you would think that some people would just be grateful to be back on screen, but instead, icing out people, not inviting people to filmed events, ignoring the basic rule of what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. It is extremely sad and shameful. If we all played our given positions and stopped playing casting director, greater things could happen together. Alliances equals stagnancy equals no group growth. Hashtag the more you know." Okay, I mean, she has a good point. The it is always destructive when you get a cast member or multiple cast members who try to control the show too much, who try to produce, who try to get people fired, who whatever. It's not only bad for the show, it also backfires a lot of the time. So, yeah, I see what she's saying. And it is bad when you get like people resorting to like icing people out or like, a group gang up, because that does lead to stagnancy and the audience generally doesn't like it. So, Gertie is right about that. So next we have Adriana on Watch What Happens Live. So she was asked about the hypocrisy of calling Marisol old and wretched and then like being all upset when somebody else makes like a ageist comment against her. And Adriana says, well, she's just responding. I mean, okay. Anyways, I was going to say, I mean, the other people could say the same thing, but she says she's just responding and Marisol started this because if you go back to the first episode, I'm assuming she means the first episode of the season, not the series. I hope we're not going that far back. She says Marisol said something about Adriana finding someone to date and time's ticking. Okay, yeah, so that would have been this season. So I guess that was something that bothered Adriana, and now she's saying that what she's saying back is kind of hypocrisy, or not hypocrisy, because Marisol started it. But you could say, if ageism and that kind of stuff really bothers you, then don't perpetuate it. However, I guess she's thinking like I'm fighting fire with fire. That's kind of what I'm taking from it. Like she started by kind of saying I was old. So now, and this is like something that's going around because now I've seen another comment on social media of Adriana talking about how Marisol started the ageist thing, or maybe it was in the clip I saw for the reunion. So it's going to get brought up, like it for sure. I mean, listen, she's not wrong. I guess. But, here's the thing. Marisol could probably find a clip from before this season of you saying something about her age. And then we could go back before that and so on and so on. And maybe you both just need to zip it. Okay. So Alexia also did an interview with Two Teas in a Pod. And she said that basically off camera before the season started. Okay. She gave us a little before the season tea. She said that Marisol and Stephanie spoke, I guess, and Stephanie was kind of like, well, who do I have to watch out for? And Marisol warned Stephanie that the person that she had to watch out for is Adriana. Then instead of holding on to this information, Stephanie chose to make a lunch with Adriana and told her basically what was said by Marisol. And not to worry about what Marisol said because Stephanie would make her own decision. Okay. And Alexia says that this bothered her and it bothered Marisol, of course. And I guess Stephanie told this to Larsa, and then Larsa told this to Alexia and Marisol. So that's how they found out about it. So again, like I said, like even though Larsa's like close to Stephanie, it seems like she's pretty close to Alexia and Marisol. And I do think she's going to be at the end of the day on their side. Maybe even against Stephanie. I don't know. She was defending Stephanie pretty hard this season, so I guess we'll see. But I don't know how to feel about this because in one way I'm like, I don't think Stephanie has any allegiance to you. Like, I think if Marisol was like, the one that you have to watch out for is Adriana. Like, I don't like, why does Stephanie have to keep that close to the chest? But then on the other hand, if you go to someone and say, who do I need to watch out for? And then they answer your question, and then you go back and tell the people that they named, that is a little snake behavior. That is snake-like because, again, you asked for it, and then you're going and tattling. But I don't know if that's how it went down. And I could see Stephanie maybe not asking, but Marisol volunteering that information. And I could also see it being just not even that kind of conversation and Marisol just talking shit. I could see that as well because she doesn't like her. So again, it remains to be proven. So I don't know. We'll see if they talk about this at the reunion. I mean, Alexia was talking about it pretty blatantly on this podcast, so it could be. So I guess that is going to be kind of why Alexia and Marisol, I think, are going to be pissed off at Stephanie at the reunion. That was the impression that I was getting from, the seating chart and just like Alexia's interviews lately and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, the other thing is that Alexia made a post on Instagram and it has a lot of people talking because it kind of sounds like a farewell post. Like there's no like official announcement or anything like, oh, Alexia's quitting Real Housewives of Miami, but I'll read you guys the caption. Okay. And you can tell me your thoughts. Okay. I mean, you can just think about it right now or you can comment. Okay. Okay. Alexia says, Miami, you've seen it all. My truth, my struggles, my heart. Tonight we close this chapter and I just want to say, thank you for every message, every hug, every ounce of love. Hashtag RHOM finale. So I see why some people can interpret that as like Alexia's leaving the show because she says, you've seen it all, which sometimes can imply like, I have nothing left to share, right? Or I've shared so much of myself over these years. Okay. But she also then says, my truth, my struggles, my heart. So that could just be like, you've seen all of like my divorce struggle and like my heart and like what I've been through, like with the Todd situation. Because then she says, thank you for every message, hug, and ounce of love. So that could be like, maybe she's gotten a lot of support, in regards to the whole Todd situation. And that's what she's referring to. And the whole like, dating a narcissist and that kind of thing. So it could be that as well. I don't know. But listen, I do think if she is leaving, she wouldn't announce it before the reunion's done. And I hope she's not. If she's leaving because of Todd, that is like the worst reason to leave. Okay. There's a lot of reasons to leave, but Todd, like he sucks. He sucks so bad. And even if she leaves, I don't think it's going to work out because he's an asshole. Like, and I'm not saying Alexia is perfect, but like, just this guy is no good. Okay. Let's go to, what should we do next? Let's go to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We're going to start with a interview with Lisa Barlow. Okay. She is back. Lisa Barlow is back on Salt Lake City, and she did an interview with Virtual Reality. And I don't know why I always struggle to say that. I say it literally every week because there's always interviews with them, with housewives, but I still struggle. And they asked her about this moment on the show that we saw in the previews where she's talking to a psychic and she becomes like emotional because the topic of her and her husband come up, and she kind of cries, etc. And basically what she says is that I think that the psychic hit something. I think when you're married for a long time, John, and then she gets like choked up, and then she says, John Barlow is my person. But I think like for me, it just hit me. Oh my gosh, what if we're not on the same page? So yeah, so she kind of hints that they're like quote unquote rebuilding trust. And yeah, she gets emotional even in this interview. So clearly there is something going on. And this is kind of, I got to be honest, this is one of the things I'm the most interested in when it comes to this season of Salt Lake City, because John Barlow has always been such a kind of, stand by your woman husband. Like he has been, a pillar in terms of like the husbands that we recognize on these shows that are sort of like always around, and that there hasn't been a ton of drama around them, right? Um, but, Lisa says that the psychic also brought up other very specific things. And she was like, oh my God, how do you know this? And etc. And so, yeah, so it seems like the psychic is going to hit on some things. And I wonder if they'll show everything that the psychic says. But we shall see. But it does seem like there is trouble in the Barlow household when it comes to that marriage. In the same interview, it also comes out, she doesn't give a ton of detail, but she does say that her and Heather are now not in the best place. So even though it seems like they are the kind of, Lisa's kind of up Lisa's butt this season in terms of just sucking up to her and stuff, it does seem like now maybe they are not. So I don't know what's happened since then. That's what I love about this show. The dynamics are always changing. And I saw an interview with Bronwyn when she was on Watch What Happens Live, and she was saying that she's actually better with Heather. So something is going to shift, clearly. Now, in this interview, Lisa is also asked about Whitney's failed businesses. Sorry, I'm not laughing because Whitney failed. It's just funny sometimes how the headlines go. But basically, she says that she never wants anyone to fail in business, but questions why Whitney would use that as like a reason to bash Lisa. She says, she doesn't like confide in in Whitney and tell her things or anything like that. And she says the only reason that the group comes at her is because there's safety in numbers, but she's like, I can take them all on. And she says that the only reason Bronwyn is coming so hard at her is because she's retaliating because she was embarrassed about lying about buying the jewelry versus borrowing it, which I got to be honest, I do think that's true. Because I do think that last season, Bronwyn and Lisa both kind of had some points in terms of like their friendship fallout or the arguments that they had. But I do think that Lisa really, like, I think that Bronwyn really came on with like a certain image and a certain like portrayal of who she wanted us to see. And I think it's very important to her to be liked, as Mary Cosby said in a interview with Dorinda on Radio Andy. And I do think that that's true. And I'm not like, I don't even think that's not like a terrible trait. Like everybody wants to be liked. However, sometimes housewives take it too far where they can't even accept some people having a skewed vision of them, and they spiral. So I don't know if that's what's happening with Bronwyn, but I could see Bronwyn really getting pissed off and wanting to retaliate because she was embarrassed about that. So yeah. Anyways, okay, what else do we have from Salt Lake City? Where was I? Oh yeah, so Bronwyn, speaking of that, was on Watch What Happens Live. And she's asked about the whole like lifestyle thing. Like, what did she think about Lisa being like, I live a very different life from the rest of you? And she said that she thinks they all live a similar lifestyle, and she's currently the closest with, and this is where what I said before comes from, Mary. She says Todd absolutely loves Mary. She says she's also close with Whitney, Brittany, and even Heather. Okay. That is, I mean, I got to say that's very surprising, but it just makes me want to watch this season more. There are so many shows that you could see one of the housewives on at the beginning of the season on Watch What Happens Live, and they could be talking about who they're close with, and you know exactly who they're going to say, and you know exactly how they got. Like, you're going to see Alexia say she's close with Marisol, and you're going to see so-and-so say You know, you're gonna see Gina, I'm clowns with Emily. But like that with Salt Lake City, you don't know. And you don't know how they got there, and you don't know the journey. And that's what makes it so good. And the other housewife shows need to take notes. Okay. OC specifically right now. The other thing that Bronwyn says is that, you know, Andy asked her, like, did you regret anything that you said to Lisa during the fight at the party, the socialite party in Utah? And Bronwyn says she was only stating facts, okay, in her fight with Lisa, and that she doesn't regret it. But she does regret her tone and says that she was aggressive. But, you know, she really just wanted to give Lisa a taste of her own medicine. But she's like, I just kind of wanted to like give her a taste of her own medicine. Is that bad? Is that bad? And then she's like shrugging. Just stand in it. Okay. Let's not do the Gretchen thing where we like do something bad and then like 2 seconds later, we're like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, you wanted to retaliate, okay? You wanted to give her a taste of her own medicine, and it's fine. Give her a taste. The audience supports it. Stand in it, though, because I can't stand when housewives do that, like, innocent fawn in the woods thing. Like, if you're going to be shady and you're going to say it, just say it. We can handle it. You can handle it. You don't have to be everyone's favorite. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about Orange County next. So we do have a bit of Orange County news. Where should we start? Okay. Tamra was on Watch What Happens Live. Her and Adriana were on actually. And she was asked which Bravo celebrity, sorry, she is least looking forward to seeing at BravoCon. And Tamra's answer was none other than Sheena Shea. Which I'm sure surprises none of you if you listen to my podcast weekly, because especially last week and the week before, because there's been this whole feud between Tamra and Sheena. She said, Sheena started all this drama with Gretchen, and at NBC Upfronts, Sheena and Brock, of course, told Tamra that her dream job is to get on Orange County. Do I believe everything that Tamra Judge says? No. Do I believe this? 100%. I believe this. Sheena said this, that I would put, I don't, whatever money I have, it's not that much, but I would put every penny I have towards this. Okay. Sheena said that 100%. Okay. And then Adriana, who's there too, and I saved this so I could do it together. I didn't put it in the Miami news, but Adriana, who is there too, goes, because then Andy asked her and she goes, same person. And she says, because she created a problem for me and Captain Cutie. Okay, as in Captain Jason from Below Deck, because she, you know, like was like gossiping and talking about it. And I don't know, she doesn't go into detail, but I think maybe things got back to Jason. Who knows? But they say, you know, she's a troublemaker, basically. Sheena, if you're out there for some reason listening to this, you're never going to be on Orange County, okay? She can barely get back. She can't even get back on the Valley. And she was like a friend of on that. So I don't think it's going in the direction that you want it to go in, okay? All right. So Tamra also says that the rumor about her and, you know, the 98 Degrees guy or whoever it allegedly is, you know, having sex on audio or whatever in the recording studio is not true. She says she's never slept with anyone famous, but she has been hit on by Denise Richards and George Lomez. Oh, okay. Is George Lomez, he's the comedian and actor, I think, right? Hang on, let me look it up. Yes. Okay, so he's a stand-up comedian, had his own show. Oh yeah, okay. I definitely know him. Yeah. I'm terrible with celebrity names. I'm very good with faces. Like once I see their face, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know that person." But the name it's because I have too much Bravo stuff in my head and I know like every Bravo name possible. So I don't have room for regular celebrities. Okay, so and of course, she makes like a face when she says Denise Richards. And listen, if Denise Richards hit on you, like no one cares, okay? A woman can be bisexual and she can hit on you. It's not like, and now we know she was married to a piece of trash. So I hope she hit on everybody while she was married to him. Okay. What else do we have? So Tamara is also asked about her response to Emily, saying that she wouldn't want to give Tamara information because then Tamara might use it against her and doesn't trust her. Tamara says, it broke my heart. And then she says, do you have a heart, though, to break? I'm just asking. Okay, inquiring minds. She says that she has a lot of love for Emily, and she's like, we're close. And, Emily's also on my network, iHeart. Okay, well, let's not to like mince words, but it's not your network. But I think she meant obviously we're both signed to the same network. But the way she said it and mentioning that, it kind of made me feel like it was a threat. Like I just kind of like I'm just saying Two T's in a Pod is a huge podcast. Okay. They're very successful podcast. And Emily's is not. Okay. I don't know what it's called again. Legally Brunette. Okay. It's yeah, like because why would it be? Okay. Who wants to listen to Emily and Shane talk about God knows what? Okay. And yeah, they're signed to iHeart probably because she's on Housewives, right? Not necessarily because it's a huge successful podcast. But I wonder if it was a little bit of a like, you know, don't mess with me, Emily. Okay. Because I can get you kicked off this network as well if I need to, because, I carry some clout here. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Okay. So then after this Watch What Happens live appearance, Sheena, of course, has to respond to Tamara's shade. So she's riding on like, I don't know if it looks like kind of like a streetcar, I think. And she says, she makes this TikTok and it says, point of view, you ran into someone who's been dreading seeing you and you squashed the beef. And then Sheena pans her camera over to someone who is dressed in like a monster, scary face costume. And then it says, and now we're two T's in a pod. But they have a blonde wig. So I guess she's trying to say like Tamara's this like scary monster or whatever. And that's her response. Okay. I guess that's all right. Again, it's now that she sort of everything is just going to look bad for you, Sheena, because now that Tamara has revealed that your dream job is OC, it's just like you're just trying to get on it. And I even had a moment of like a conspiracy thought of like, what if they're actually friends and this is all part of like a master plan to get her on the show? But I don't think so. I'm just not getting that vibe. Now the other thing is that Sheena also posted on her story a screenshot of Tamra Judge liked your reel. Okay, to I guess a reel that Sheena had posted, not the shady one, a different one. And then she posted and she's like, well, look who is lurking with the eyes emoji. And then Tamara responded and said, sweetie, you collabed on this post and I happen to like the post on Farah's page, not yours. No one stalking/lurking, including Bravo. Bye. Which I have to say, that's a good comeback. The including Bravo, she did that. That was good. Okay, so let's transition over to the Valley because it just makes sense because the first story is involving guess who? Sheena Shea. So we've pretty much got the Valley cast like confirmed, and Sheena is not a part of it, and I'm sure you're all happy, as I definitely am. So Zach posted a picture of like a bunch of them on a bus, like a kind of a travel Greyhound bus or whatever, and they're going somewhere on some trip. And notably, Sheena was missing, and he tagged everybody. Okay, so he tagged Benji, Kristen Doty, Luke Broderick, Brittany, Jasmine, Melissa, Schwartz, Nia, Danny, Jesse, Michelle, Janet, and Jason. And then, yeah, that was it. Now, Lala is in the picture. So although she's not tagged, she is present. Okay, so I'm assuming that she's not tagged maybe just because Zach doesn't like her because I don't think they like each other, which that's fine with me. But yeah, so Sheena is not there. And there was a bunch of other pictures posted from, it looked like a Valley filming trip somewhere. There was one that Lala posted of her, Michelle, and Schwartz. And then she posted another one that's like a selfie of her and Schwartz. So people are like, oh my God. And she wrote this whole thing about how they're like soft launching, but not really because there's nothing to launch, like just trying to like bother people, I think. But yeah, basically, reports say Sheena Shea is not filming for the Valley, even after, and the reason is, sorry, because she was throwing Bravo's production under the bus in her book. Okay, and is this the real reason for her feud with Lala? I mean, given that Sheena seems like the jealous type, I would say probably yes, because I would assume that, if Lala is going to be filming for the Valley, which again, I think if she is, it's going to be in a friend of capacity. I don't think she's going to be a full-time cast member, but again, I think that would bother Sheena. But like, I'm not like, I don't want Lala either, but I can understand why I guess they would choose Lala over her now. If you'd asked me a year ago, I would say the opposite. But now, after Sheena's book has come out, because she can't shut her mouth and she keeps saying things that would definitely piss off production and Bravo. So, yeah, they're going to kick you out. like, I just, and Lala probably plays by producers' rules and kind of makes their lives easier. And I don't think Sheena definitely doesn't. So yeah, but listen, good news for us because I really need a Sheena break. I just need Lala to not be there a lot. Okay. If she's sprinkled in a little bit, I could deal with it, I guess, but I just don't want a lot. Meanwhile, Brittany Cartwright slams Donald Trump for linking autism to Tylenol. Okay, here's a story you bet you didn't think you'd see here is, me talking about politics, but listen, I think good for Brittany for responding to this. So Brittany says autism was recorded before Tylenol was ever invented. So she commented this on an Instagram post that was like a post of footage of Trump talking about the longstanding drug and his belief it is linked to the condition, which it obviously is not. And she says there are many children on the spectrum who never had vaccines or whose mothers didn't take Tylenol while pregnant. And she noted the word virtually is used many times here due to there obviously still being cases of autism in those communities as well. She says she's thankful that autism is being looked into and hopefully someday we can learn more. But our children are wonderful and deserve better than misinformation by our own government. Okay, listen, one thing I will say with Brittany is I don't like Brittany for many, many reasons, and she annoys me a lot of the times. But I have to say, the way that she has spoken about autism, I think has been great. And I think she's been a good advocate for that community because she never talks about it like a burden. And she doesn't talk about it like, an evil disease that needs to be cured. No, she talks about it as like, it is something that some people are born with and it makes them different. But different doesn't mean bad. And our children, like she says, are wonderful. And I think making that statement is important because the kind of like fear mongering around autism, a lot of it comes with this sort of like implied message of, oh, if you have autism, your life is over or something. Or like it's like, you're sentenced to like doom when that's really not the truth. Right. And I think she's being a good advocate for her son and for other parents, who have children with autism, etc. All right. So what should we go to next? Let's do Real Housewives of New Jersey because Teresa Giudice was on the Vial Files and she opened up about the future of the show and her role on it. She said if Bravo doesn't want her back, she's at peace with that and said, God's rejection is God's protection. When it comes to Melissa and Joe, she said, wait, so she says she's not, this is not a direct quote, sorry, but she said she's leaving the door slightly open, saying never say never, time heals all wounds. She also shared that during special forces, her daughter Gia encouraged her to let go of anger. Now, could the never say never thing and letting go of anger, etc., could that be because, that could help save her job? Definitely could be like, okay, well, maybe The reason that I'm not going to be back on the show is, if I can't make up with Joe and Melissa, so I should just say the door is open. Or it could be, like maybe like she thinks that that's what Bravo thinks the audiences want to see, which I don't know if it really is what we want to see. It's definitely not what I want to see. Um, but the other thing is that I don't, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I thought that it was more Melissa and Joe who said they were done. Like I thought like Teresa was done with them, but she was willing to film. Like that was, and then I thought that Melissa said she no longer wanted to film with her, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Either way, like, listen, they both kind of dug their heels in here. And I think they both, at different points since the show has been on, since the show's been off, I should say, have been kind of like walking it back a little bit. Like I've heard interviews with Melissa and Joe where they were kind of saying like, well, never say never. Like there have been interviews kind of on both sides because at the end of the day, it's like they're like, well, we're giving up a really big paycheck, But again, you're not going to hear that from whoever is filming. But I don't know if Melissa and Joe are filming. I don't. I have no idea. I know they're on the Housewives Swap show or whatever. And yeah, that's about it. Like and I've heard about like Marge and people test filming, but I haven't heard about Melissa. And to be honest, if they do bring back some of those other people from the original cast, and they don't bring Teresa back, but they bring back like others from the cast, I would say, I don't know. I just would say you don't need Melissa either. Like, I don't think I can understand them rebooting Jersey and I can understand them not having Teresa on, but I don't see any reason to keep Melissa as well, to be honest. I just don't see it. Like the only kind of storyline that she's ever had has really been just like her husband, yeah, can be comic relief sometimes, and then also his relationship with Teresa and her so if Teresa's not on the show, I just don't see what they're going to be bringing, really. Like, they make sense to me on the Housewives wife swap. I got to be honest. Like, that, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, but them coming back on Jersey, I just don't see it. Like, I don't really want any of the other cast back on of the originals, to be honest, but them the least, probably. Okay. Teresa also blames Joe and Marge for the rumor about Jackie's husband, saying that she initially, and I've heard this before, that she initially heard it from her brother. And then, and then producers, they were at Jackie's party, the birthday party or whoever, her husband's party, and it was boring and producers were pressuring her to start up some drama. So she started blabbing about, oh, well, I heard, that Jackie's husband has a mistress at the gym. And that was why she was spreading it around the party. I kind of believe this, to be honest. I do think that Teresa is dumb enough to hear this rumor from her brother, and producers probably knew about it too. And I think, and again, it was her choice to say it on camera, so she still has to take fault for that. But I could see them being like, we need some drama for this season. You've been on the show for 10 years, start something. And then her running around the party being like, did you hear about, because it was the most clunky like way of spreading a rumor. It was so like, and to be honest, like, Jackie was pissed at Teresa specifically. If we're gonna like really come down to it, I think Jackie could have been mad at the whole cast. I really think the whole cast knew about this rumor. And I think Teresa was the one who was dumb enough to like bring it up just from pressure from production. But really, trust me, they were all probably willing to have this be a storyline just to make sure that the show, had a storyline that season. Like, really, that was it. And then, as happens so often on these shows, something gets brought up like that. And then the real drama becomes about whose fault is it. And that's what the season turned into, right? So, God, see, this is why we need a new cast for Jersey, because I can't go back with all this stuff. I just can't do it, okay? Okay, let's go to, what else do we have? Do we have anything else? Oh yeah, we have a little bit of Southern hospitality news because Ali Luber was on Katie and, oh God, what's the other girl's name? Dana's podcast. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. and she, on Disrespectfully, and she said that she did film for Southern Hospitality. Not like necessarily as a full-time cast member, but she says she did a little bit of filming. She says that it was tame compared to Vanderpump Rules, which, yeah, true. It's still good, but nothing is like Vanderpump Rules. But she says that, she does have family in Charleston. She has been thinking of moving there. She says, since everything that's happened in LA, she loves LA, says she loves it, but she says, it's just not working for her anymore and the vibes aren't. Probably because she wants to be on TV, which again is okay. Like I think people kind of like go crazy when somebody admits that they want a job on reality TV because it's like, oh, they're just a thirsty. Da, da. They all are. Every single person that you currently watch on TV was a thirsty person at some point who wasn't on TV, who heard about an opportunity to get on and wanted it. Okay. Whether they did it through because they dated someone who was on TV and then they got a taste of it and liked it, whether they dated someone to get on there or a mix of both, whether they were approached and they were like, yes, I want to do it. They all are. Okay. And again, if she brings something to Southern Hospitality, I'm fine with it. If she's just kind of there and boring, then go get off my TV. You have to do more than just stand there and like look pretty. Okay. And I'm not saying Allie's like that type of girl. She's not like an airhead or anything like that who just stands there and looks pretty. But I'm just saying that like we haven't really seen her outside of her relationship with James. So I don't know what to expect of her just on her own. So I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not against it. Our last piece of news is some Summer House news. So Carl was doing an interview on Page 6 Radio, and he was asked, did Lindsay happen to stop by Soft Bar? And he says, yes, she did. She came in to see the space and to, show her support. And he says he was honored that she would come and really appreciated that, that she came to see the space. And he thinks that, they asked, like, was she impressed? And he's like, well, I think she was just taking it all in. Like, he doesn't really directly answer it. Listen, I don't know what was said. I don't think that she would have been like, wow, Carl, it looks like shit. Even though Lindsay would say stuff like that, I don't think that she would in this situation specifically because it's like her ex and whatever. But yeah, he seemed very happy that she came in to see it. And listen, I'm still going to hold out hope that these two can maybe be friends one day. Not like to the same level that they were, but they were always meant to just be friends. I think sometimes people do that with someone that they're meant to be friends with. They're like, well, we're good friends, so couldn't we be a good couple? But the truth is, it often does not translate, which is definitely true for them. Definitely. Okay, everyone. I think that is the end of our episode. Thank you again for being listeners and supporting this podcast. It really means so much to me that you tune in every week to listen. Please make sure you subscribe and that you rate and review. It really helps me with like the algorithm and all that kind of stuff so I can continue to grow and keep this podcast going for as long as possible because I love doing it. So thank you again, everyone. And you are now in the know for everything Bravo. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me. And this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoyed the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and Botox. And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.